For today's review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends X-Men 97 Rogue. Now, unlike the last three figures I looked at last week, where those were my first time copies of the characters in figure form, I do have another version of Rogue in figure form that I want to bring in for comparisons when I talk about aesthetics regarding this one issue that I have with this figure that I don't like. And of course, before I dive into aesthetics, let's talk about the accessories that are included. And she only includes these two accessories in the forms of interchangeable hands. And of course, the first one here is a yellow glove hand that's holding a glove that is removed from this right hand. And if you know anything about her powers, not only can she fly, not only does she have superhuman strength, she also has the ability to absorb other characters' powers and use them. So these hand accessories are quite fitting for this figure. Now, the one thing I think is a bummer is the fact that she did not include an alternate head sculpt. So the three figures I looked at last week, Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jean Grey, they all included a secondary head sculpt that you can swap with. This one does not. I don't know why they didn't bother to do that. I feel like if she had an alternate head sculpt, it would have been really good. So in terms of the accessory department, it's very lacking just having two accessories. Alright, let's jump into aesthetics now. And let's talk about the issue that I have with this figure. And that is in the form of how the yellow paints were applied. So I don't know if my camera is going to do a good job picking this up, but if you have a copy of this figure, you know what I'm talking about. And it looks visible in person than it does through the camera footage as I'm recording this. So up here where her torso is, this yellow is a matte finish yellow. It's really nicely painted. It's very smooth. And that yellow is repeated in the hands and also this part right here. That's an extension of her gloves. Same thing on this side. And same thing with the bottom of her legs where her boots are, right? This entire piece up here to down here. It's the same yellow as this top area in some form. It's a smooth matte finish. As for this area right here where her stomach is all the way to her thighs, this yellow is not the same. It is a different shade of yellow that's a little bit lighter and glossy. I don't know why they couldn't have kept it uniformed because it should look the same as up here. Like if we're going to make this area painted nicely like this, you should continue that paint scheme all the way to the rest of the figure. Why change it to something else? You know, you kept it the same on this and this area. I don't know what happened here. And it's really noticeable in person. And that's what throws me off whenever I look at this figure because it just shows that they weren't consistent with how this figure was painted. And if you look at this other figure here, which I'm going to bring in, this is the AOA version of Rogue. Notice how the yellow paint is pretty consistent from head to toe, right? Where her neck is all the way up there. It's the same yellow throughout the whole body, and they kept it the same for everything. And yeah, it's glossy, but at the same time, it's like, it doesn't matter if it's glossy, at least it's the same yellow. Like, there's no breakage. But on this figure, there is a breakage between up here and down here. And yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about this figure. It's just the way that the yellow paints were applied between point A and point B. And yeah, not a fan of this whole thing, but that's basically it when it comes to what I don't like about this figure. Now let's talk about the things I do like about this figure. And let's start with the head sculpt here. They did a really good job with that head sculpt. I like the way that the face is sculpted. It's modeled after her design in the X-Men 97 show, of course, so it's not the same as what she looks like in the original animated series. And the sculpting of the jacket is okay. You know, it's not like the worst thing. You know, it gets a job done. It is a green color jacket. And I think this mold is the same mold as the original version of this figure. And I know they also reissued a Rogue figure with the brown jacket sort of design like this one with that older head sculpt as a Target exclusive. They made it like a retro carded version. I don't have that figure to compare to, so, but I'm assuming this body buck is the same one as that one. As I said in my Captain America review video, I haven't collected Marvel Legends for a long time, so I don't know what is reused and what is new here. But I think this is the same body buck as that one. So, but in terms of things that I noticed that are similar, of course, I think the arms are exactly the same though. Like with this and the AOA one, as you can see how those are sculpted. So, yeah. Okay. Let's talk about articulation. Oh, wait, no, before we talk about articulation, let me just show more of the figure. Yeah, and the rest of it is pretty, pretty simple. There's not much going on in terms of sculpt detail. Most of it is just colors. So, all right, now we talk about articulation. So, the head sculpt actually has a good range of motion when it comes to turning, because the hair piece here, it doesn't really hinder it too much, so you can get it to articulate pretty good, I guess. Not too bad. She can kind of look down, but if you want her to look up, that's not going to happen, because this back part right here where her hair is hanging down is going to be the hindrance for looking up. So, but in terms of everything else, when it comes to the motion here, it's not too bad. I think the head sculpt actually is done nicely here with the range of motions that it's offering. Because usually when they make characters with long hair, they tend to not be able to even like turn their heads that good. But this is like really good. So I do like the way that that came out. As for her arms, they do lift out. And they do go all the way back and forth. It does make this click noise for some reason. And it does feel very fragile, like something's going to break. I don't know why the plastic feels that way on this copy of the figure. And for her arm, it does do a 90-degree. It is a single joint, but there is a rotation here because there's no upper swivel on the upper part of the arm. There is a swivel with the hands, and there is articulation at the wrist. So pretty standard there. As for articulation here in the torso, it is mainly from the upper torso where there's a cut, so this can turn, as you can see right there, and lean forward, lean back. There is no waist articulation because there's no cut here, so there's no turning down there. As for her legs, they do kick out pretty good. They do double joint, as you can see. And of course, she does have thigh cuts up here. And she also has, I don't think there's there's no swivel down here. She does have articulation at the feet, and they do swivel, but my copy is really freaking tight. So, and of course, can she spread her legs out? Let's find out if she can do the splits. Not exactly. So, some female characters can spread their legs out more. Some can't. I would say that this is better than some of the female Marvel Legend figures that I've had in the past where they couldn't even spread their legs out that much. So, and the reason why I always do this test is because sometimes if you're trying to do some sort of pose, you want to be able to spread the legs out more. Like if you're trying to do like some sort of kick pose where you're doing something like this, you want to have that range of motion with the legs. So, all right, that is basically it when it comes to articulation on this figure. There is not much else, I believe, going on. Okay, and now we can talk about comparisons, and then after that I can show the other hands on this figure. For some reason, these figures don't like to stand, for me. I don't know why they always like to fall over. So bear with me. Okay, so of course the first comparison that I want to make with this figure, of course, is the, where is it? Oh, here we go. Is the comparison with the AOA one. And let me try to zoom back in on that. And as you can see, there is a massive difference between these two character designs, right? They are not the same. If you ever read AOA, you would know that those depictions of our favorite characters are wearing completely different costumes. And yeah, so there's that. Here she is, of course, with Gambit. Pretty cool. And let's throw in someone random before we continue the X-Men characters. Here she is with Fortnite Girl. And she is actually taller than Fortnite Girl, which is interesting. So, there's that. Here she is with, of course, Jean Grey. And hopefully she doesn't fall over. And they look like the same height from this angle, but actually in person, I think she's a little bit taller than Jean. So, there's that. Here she is with Nightcrawler. Pretty cool. And here she is with Wolverine. And of course, she's taller than Wolverine because Wolverine is known to be short. And last but not least, when it comes to the X-Men characters that I have, here she is with Cyclops. So, I do have a few other X-Men figures. As I did show with Cyclops, I do have Vulcan and Havoc, but that's basically about it. I don't really have much else in terms of X-Men figures at the moment. And I guess for random, again, here she is next to an SH Figuarts Piccolo. So, there you go with comparisons. And now, I will try to show the other hand accessories on this figure and maybe get her into some sort of pose. And hopefully the hands will come off easily. Okay, that was not too hard to pop off. There we go. Oh wait, actually, I'm stupid. I need to take that off too, because that's an extension of her glove. And where did that yellow piece go? I don't know where it fell to. That's fine. Let me take this off now. And there we go. We got her with the other hands on the figure. And yeah, pretty freaking nice. I like the fact that she has this option, and then you can now get her into some sort of like pose where she's maybe going to borrow someone's ability. But yeah, I like the additional hands. But again, it would have been nice if there was an additional head sculpt, and that is the bummer. All right, that is our look at Rogue today. If you found this review informative, do give this video a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel for more action figure content and whatever else I do on here, you can. You don't have to. In the end of the day, I make these reviews for fun. And with that said, take care, and I will see you in the next video.